Good morning all. I thought it was about time I put another telephone up. This one's got a little story with it. Hasn't been with me that long. In fact, one day I ordered this off of eBay. It was in excellent condition. It looked as if it had never been used, which probably was the case. Anyhow, I thought, yeah, I'll have that. It's reasonably priced, from America. The blurb was that it was all working, no problems, which turned out to be a little bit of a porky. But as I say, the seller had a very, very good feedback, no problems there. So just likely that she obviously didn't realise that the phone couldn't have worked despite the fact that it lit up and done all that. Anyhow, long story, I sort of sent a message back saying that it was in fact faulty, and after that was yesterday, I was just sitting down having a cup of tea, and I thought, well, I'm going to have another look at it again and see if I can see any problems. I had tried it out with a different handset, plugged in a different lead. What the symptoms was, it was just dead. It was completely dead. It was dialing out because I proved that with another phone. So everything the phone was doing was okay, except there was no sound. Anyhow, tried various things, looked at it inside. When I took it apart, I was very impressed. It's a very well made job. I know it's made in China. This was made about the 1970s, I would think. It's called a Krystalite. I'll turn the back over, the handset off. I'll tell you, it says what it is. It's obviously a phone to add to the actual collection. There's the blurb with it. It's a Krystalite blue neon phone, and this was sold or made for Radio Shack, which is a branch of Tandy Corporation. In England we had shops called Tandy, which was in fact the same firm, but I think they've all gone now. I know you don't see Tandy shops in England anymore. They were very good. Anyway, this is the phone that you'd see, and it's got all your necessary buttons. This does pulse, it does tone, ringer on and off. It's a tone type ringer. You've got the light as well, if I can show you that working. If I press the right button, there we are. You can turn the neon light on, let's say it's neon. It's actually a very well made job. Very firm. Crystal, because I suppose it's clear, it looks like a sparkling crystal. The tube, I would say, has had no use at all. It looks brand new. And my opinion is that this particular phone was one that had been sold or for sale by a shop in the 1970s, and it never worked. And I think it was put to one side, probably lost for years, and suddenly appeared, and it appeared on eBay. So it was in fact a very good buy if you can get it to work. Well, I say yesterday I sat up to, well, not sat up, I fiddled about with it to about 1 o'clock in the morning. I must be bloody mad, but anyhow, I succeeded, and the problem was in the handset you obviously have a receiver, and I obviously checked in there, checked that, and it was completely dead. The receiver was dead. It was open circuit. I put a meter across it and it was open circuit, completely dead. So I went up to the loft and I found an old phone which was virtually in bits, and I nicked the receiver part from that, which fortunately fitted. The one I got was made in Taiwan, which is, well, you know, not very far away from China, and it fitted well. The other insert, which goes in this side, was one of those little tiny jobs. They're minute, they're very, very small. They just fit into a little hole. Well, that part was okay, it was all soldered in, so there was no problem. So I wired it up, got the old soldering iron out, give that a birthday, plumbed it up, and put the base, the phone assembly back. I haven't shown you the insides. Suffice to say that it was a very, very good make, well made. Turn the light off. It was very well made. I was quite impressed, because in fact it was held on with 4 screws. What else has it got? You've got your normal ports for the various things. You've got a lead there that supplies 12 volts. Now this is coming from plug in the wall charger. There's the charger. Now I had already arranged to use a charger over here on our voltage 240, but this one from America, which is obviously for the phone, it came with it, it's got the voltage range on there, and it takes in 100 volts, which would obviously be the Japanese voltage, up to 240 volts. So I was able to use this lead in preference to my other one, which I'd nicked off of another job, and plug that. Yeah, it's gone back in there. Plug that back in. So there's no problem. Anyhow, that's more or less all I've got to say on this. But I would say that, you know, eBay, on the whole, it's not bad. But be very careful. As I say, I was lucky. They were going to send me the money back. Well, I immediately sent back to eBay explaining what I had done, and I got the phone working. So as far as I'm concerned, we're back to square one. So I'm not asking them for any money, and hopefully, well, they don't need the phone back now, as I've fixed it and I've just left it as mine, so it's good. So once again, I would say it was a good phone, but if people have these items for sale and they're not too sure, just say it was untested. It was the fact that they said this was working. Whether I would have still bought it if it had been untested, I don't know. It depends on the price, obviously. The price of this was fair. The tube, as I say, is a cold cathode tube. It means it hasn't got a heated cathode at each end. It's just 2 electrodes. Cold cathode. Works on fairly high voltage, which would be generated by the 12 volts in, to generate the voltage to light it up. As the phone rings, the neon light lights up or as I showed, you can turn it on manually, which I don't do. I just leave it as a ringer. It's in a way it's for someone that's hard of hearing, I suppose. Mind you, I'm almost hard of hearing, getting old. But there we are. I think these go back to about the 70s. Don't think they were ever sold in England. They may have been, but I don't think so. This was from Tandy or Radio Shack, as it was called in the States. And yep, a good product, though made in China. This was one of their better made jobs. Beautifully made inside, completely packed tight with components, chips, transistors, resistors, capacitors, and they're nicely arranged. They're not just put in any old how higgly-piggly. They were standing up nice and straight, and whoever made this or had it made had done a very good job. Anyhow, that's all I've got to say. Once again, many thanks. If the seller happens to see this, many thanks to her. I assume it's a her. It might not be. But many thanks, and I'm hoping everything's sorted out with the money. I'm not expecting any money. I don't want any money. As I've fixed it, all right, the part probably would have, well, I don't know how much it would cost. I've got loads of bits and pieces. It was quite enjoyable to get it going again. So there we are. The Krystalite working. I know it's not my normal type of phone that I put up, but it is an added one to the collection. So once again, many thanks. And I'll pop this up on good old YouTube. Thanks again. Thank you.